And I have a minute to spare, so I thought I'd pop in. I've been terribly busy this week and really consumed with all of my health stuff and doctor's appointments and physical therapy, and it's been a really rough week for me. The weather also did not help. Um, I know that my notifications have not been going out. Hey, Gypsy. So I've not been really present a lot this week. Number one, we had a lot of high winds through our area. Hi, Irish. We had a lot of high winds through our area that caused a lot of trees to go down, caused some line issues, and obviously caused some electricity and Wi-Fi issues here. Um, Obviously, when there are a lot of weather issues in my area, then I have a lot of health issues because my neuromuscular disorder responds like MS to weather. Hi, Rachel. Um, so it's not been the best week. I also a um, took on a newspaper article story about education about coyotes because our area is having a rogue dog coyote issue, and people are trying to equate coyote behavior to rogue dog behavior, which is not even the same. So I've been working on an article for the local newspaper about coyote education, and so I've had to do a lot of phone interviews with TWRA and USDA sources, and so what little spare time I've had has been, invested in that. And y'all, as y'all can tell from my eyes, I've not had a good health week. It's just not been a good health week. And my health is fragile. Ever since the heart issue in December, it's really fragile. And so, one of the biggest questions that I've gotten because of all this hate that I received during this Ryan debacle, because how dare I have a more neutral perception, rather than run with the hate. Um, the biggest question I'm getting is like, but how can you choose to stay silent? Hi, Denise. Um, well, I've gotten to a point where I have to understand that my neuromuscular disorder, because of my age and because of where it is sitting as a diagnosis and the age that I'm sitting at with it, the balance between it progressing and me holding it at bay is becoming harder to manage every day. So I have to put my extra energy into me and my health and maintaining that balance because it's harder now. I'm getting older. This is advancing, it's progressing, it's spreading, and therefore it requires more of me. And so I have to acknowledge that the extra energy I once had that I could apply to others, I have to now save and apply to me. And it's not being selfish, it's called taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your family. Um, but I've been really discouraged in the last few weeks because of how easily people jump to hate when they see someone have a different perspective. And so if I could say like one thing to people that are like so hate driven, it's like, listen, I understand that you think people may be sitting on a fence because they have a neutral perspective, but the most healthy thing that you can understand is that everyone fences in society differently. So the fence may run at a certain place in your brain, but in somebody else's brain, it runs way over on the other acreage, And so the way that we map out our society and the way we understand it, the way that we fence it, is different for everyone. So you're looking at property and configuring it, as how you would best enclose it for safety. And those other people are looking at that as how they would best enclose it for safety. And that's never going to be the same, whether it's a piece of land or mental property in your brain. It's never going to be the same. So, like, that's why I'm always trying to have y'all look at it a different way or have a different perspective or understand a different viewpoint. Because the healthiest thing that you can understand is that we all think differently. Hi, Net. So that's one of the biggest things that I would like to state. And then I've had a third eye. The next question is, why were you so nice when Miss Patty snapped at you? Because it's what I expect of myself. Because no matter what I expect of her, or how many expectations or how few I may have of someone else, I expect more of myself. So how I respond shows somebody who I really am. And so my response is normally going to be kindness, unless I really have to draw a line. And I don't really have to draw a line with her because she's not someone that I have a personal relationship with. She's someone that I thought I had a lot in common with. Um, but that expectation that I thought that, that I had secured there was changed, by behavior and actions. And, that's just normally, when you make friends and you create your flock of people, your herd, when you see behaviors and actions that go beyond your little expectations, you have little healthy expectations for each other as opposed to unhealthy. You should have healthy expectations. And when someone reacts in a way that I deem is not healthy, then I'm like, okay, I have to reevaluate this person and their proximity to me and my world, my viewpoint, and where I place them. And so when she lashed out, one thing I thought was, she's obviously receiving a lot of hate. She's obviously not having a good time. She's obviously in the middle of a lot of strife and tension and anxiety. And I can understand why someone would snap. More so at people that come at them with hate than people that come at them with, logic or neutral expectations, or trying to see a whole perspective instead of one side. You may call it a professional fence sitter, but what it is someone truly trying to get the lay of the land on both sides of the fence, as opposed to just siding with one farmer when there's a territory squabble. And, so sometimes in your desire to be judicious or neutral, others will take that as defamation because you're not sending them the energy that they demand or are used to receiving. And so you just have to understand that if that energy is more important to her than interpersonal relationships and how you treat each other, then that's not a friendship that I'm going to value. It's not a friendship that I'm going to continue, and it's not a friendship that I'm going to worry over losing. Because sometimes you can tolerate absence a whole lot better than you can tolerate disrespect. And many people find themselves in very bad situations because they tolerate disrespect before they seek absence. And that's hard for some people to state and to compost. But there are desperately heavily themed times in your life when absence should be preferred before you seek disrespect. So walking away is sometimes something that is necessary. So every little bit of energy that I have this last week has been sent to my body and my mind, to deal with this stupid disorder that I have, and to handle all of the things that I have to handle with this stupid health disorder. And when I have to look at the ratio of responses I'm getting and it's 75% hate and 25% positivity, then I have to go, okay, and what is this costing me? And if it's costing me any kind of emotional or physical healing that I need to do for me, then it's not worth it. So sadly, as society becomes more hate driven, the people that want to invest themselves to change that have to bow out, especially as they age, like me, and have heftier things they have to attack in life, rather than the viewpoint of a 19-year-old that has never had a job, paid a bill, nor had an emotional issue that they've had to overcome, but yet they suddenly have every degree in the world and yet will listen to no one that's 30 years their senior. And it's just like, Way to run it life full tilt and blonde there, Bubba. But sometimes you have to go, am I helping? Am I benefiting? Or am I hurting? And so I think what I saw in the last couple of weeks, hi, Emery, hi, Pocahontas. Yeah, I think what I've seen in the last couple of weeks is that the younger fan base definitely think that they need to establish themselves as dominant. That the disrespect is going to far outweigh the respect that's given to those of the senior age in that specific fan base. And so I'm going to allow the people that have the additional energy and the good health to fight that fight because I don't. And it's just not a good practice to endanger me and my health and my very quiet life that I have here that is normally does very good for me, to engage with such a amoeba-minded mob at times. So I'm just going to bow out. And everybody goes, well, you're bowing out. That means you don't really appreciate Upchurch, and you saying that you're just not going to buy any more music because of the hate. And no, it's made me a much different critic. I would think that witnessing what we've witnessed the last few weeks would make a lot of the people that appreciate the music kind of tilt back and go, what am I supporting when I give money to this? And am I proud of that? Now, Ryan's video today was a much better headspace. It's much more the Ryan that I'm proud of, that I think is Ryan, much more similar to the young man that spoke to me. So I think, what he's went through the last few weeks, at least he can sit down and turn around and look at it with a critical eye, even look at himself with a critical eye. So kudos to him. I gave him props for that. But I've explained that, my health just can't do this anymore. My health just can't do this anymore. And I'm going to always wish him the best and want him to be successful. And I want him to have every happiness, his whole family, his whole family, even the people he's not currently very happy about. I want them all to be happy. I don't wish ill will upon anyone. But I have to say that, when I look at the pros and cons and weigh out what it's costing me, it's just not beneficial for me to put my energy there anymore, especially with my health issues that I'm having. Hi, Ashley. So everyone's been kind of upset that I've been quiet this week, but I have a lot I have to take care of. Plus, we've had days where the electric's been in and out and the phone's been in and out due to the high winds and the trees that we've had down. We've had multiple trees cut off our road this 1 week. So I don't live in like the best area, I guess, to want to be a YouTuber, if you would call me that. But one thing that I do think I gain as I get older is wisdom in the oddest of places. And one of the things that I'm able to do is to understand that sometimes choosing absence is much better than choosing disrespect. And so I think in this place, if the fan base, and especially for Ryan's mother, is going to see critical and logical, rational thinking, which Ryan has always been like, thank you for your thoughtfulness. He understands that I'm trying to provoke like a thought pattern as opposed to a battle royale between, mental modes. I'm just trying to make people understand the bigger picture as opposed to get stuck on one thought. Because it helps you be more well-rounded and able to deal with disappointments in life and able to see the bigger picture and to keep moving forward when you do hit a speed bump. So I think he understands the momentum behind why I do these things. He's never seemed irritated and always been positive. He's questioned me once, and when I explained myself, he was like, "Well, thank you." There's always going to be work to do in any group of individuals, any group of people that come together to support anything. There's always going to be work that needs to be done. There's always going to be self-critiquing, being heavy on the self-evaluation and making sure that a positive side is showing as opposed to a negative. But there's also a time to say, hey, I've met the maximum positive investment I can, and anything beyond this is going to cost me more than I'm able to give up freely. And I'm at that point with this topic in my health. Does that make sense? So perhaps if Miss Patty had responded with, I don't understand why you're questioning the entire environment, the entire issue. I don't know why you have to look at things that could potentially be litigious. And I would have explained myself. But, the thing is that I understand why she was hurt, because she's in the middle of a bunch of crap. But man, aim your hate to people that are really attacking you. Don't aim your hate to people going, whoa, people, look at the whole picture. Now, this may have taken place. This may have not. This could be an issue. It may not. I'm concerned about this, but it could be a, grain of salt. Make your own mind about it. But isn't it funny how the people that are truly lashing out, notifications actually went through. Isn't it funny how the people that lash out only at people that show kindness? They never lash out at people that show animosity or hate. And that is because we perceive kindness as weakness. And that is such an untrue statement. I mean, and kindness is never weakness. Kindness is the hardest thing that you can show somebody, especially when they've been, shown ill will toward you. And so kindness is a strength. And so I look at this and go, listen, if I'm not going to be respected for all the hard work that I've done to kind of help the fan base stay on track, keep the mentality of the fan base positive, and keep people looking at the bigger picture, and keep people from, basically devolving into this little amoeba-brained idiot group, then okay, I will move on, because I have a lot of interest in a lot of places that I can place my energy. So, hi, Clara. And when it comes to my age and my health and the way that I look at things, I can tolerate absence a lot better than I can tolerate disrespect. And that may be something that a lot of people in this scenario need to learn, especially perhaps some of the family members that are intertwined into this. Sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you need to walk away and reevaluate why and how much you love someone, and if it's positive or negative. It's a hard thing to do, but sometimes it's necessary. And so that's what I've chosen to do. I don't feel bad about it. I feel good about it. I think everyone needs to pay attention to this scenario, because after all of the hate, who stepped up and was critical of themselves first? Right. And normally when things go backwards, as soon as he takes a moment to sit down and hash it out, he steps up and says, okay, how can I handle this better? How can I handle it better next time? What is my motivation? Where do I go from here? And he normally says, let's go forward. Let's go upward. Let's go onward. Now, do I still have concerns? Yeah, I still have concerns. The boy's famous. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to screw up that a lot of us don't have. I worry about the boy. But yeah, when it was very small, Rachel. It was very small, but it was very impactful, because she did a video, and I was basically complimenting a Goodwill find that she made. I was just watching, because I like to watch thrifting, and I watch a lot of thrifting. And I said, good find, or a beautiful piece, or something like that, in prayers, because I knew she'd been receiving a lot of hate. And she said, I hear about your videos, and apparently I didn't know who you were, or I thought I knew who you were, but I didn't. And I'm like, what? What? Now, number one, you should watch the videos before you determine if you hate someone. And if it's determining hate, you should watch every second. You should take quotes, and you should probably explain yourself, if you're going to go back with a total annihilation of that person's character. But at the same time, she was receiving a lot of hate, and she was in a bad place. But watch who she lashes out at. Just when you see people in general in a place of tension, watch who they lash out at. If it's people that are normally kind or people that normally show them kindness, that's a very, very scary thing. Because when we choose to kick those closest, it's because we think they won't leave us. Like when the homeowner that has 15 dogs gets mad and kicks the dog, he normally kicks the one that he knows won't bite him. They don't normally go and kick the Rottweiler, do they? No, they normally try to kick the one they think, is very submissive and not going to cause them harm. And that's just kind of one of those judgment calls that people have to make in their daily life and how they treat other people and how they lash out at others and how they use their energy. And for me, I'm just like, listen, if someone else's hearsay that you've not validated can make you lash out in such a hateful manner to discredit someone's character in 2 seconds, I have other questions that I need to answer before I continue any type of friendship, any type of respect. Because that's a pretty big chasm to jump there in 2 seconds, isn't it, from hearsay? If you listen to all my videos, you heard me corner and question every perspective and everybody in that scenario. And then you also saw me defend every scenario and every person. Because there's questions, there's open-ended just spaces that we don't know. And that was the biggest thing, was find the balance. Look at it all. Don't jump. Don't be emotionally led. And it was so frustrating then to go to the person that I was trying to protect and then have them emotionally led to jump on me. And it's just like, okay. If it's that easy to be disrespectful to someone you don't know or to a group of people that have created and funded a lifestyle that you're used to and you're benefiting from, my question is, how do people in your innermost circle be treated? How are they treated? So it created more questions for me than it resolved. Oh yeah, Annette. There's normally about a million sides to every story, and we all just kind of have to learn to navigate and kind of see, how we feel about that and how we view it ourselves, and understand that the way we view it is going to have some biases and some filters and some prejudices, and we just try to have to be critical about ourselves and how we choose to look at things and how we choose to resolve things. And so I thought the best thing I could do would be to wish everyone well, let Ryan end on a very positive and uplifting note, which he had today, and just be like, from this day forward, I have to choose my own health, because, I really felt bad that this family was spiraling. I really felt bad that this family was coming apart. I really wanted to help other families that might be preempting something like this to see the red flags and to understand that they need to amp up communication. But if I'm going to sit there and I'm going to put out that amount of energy to be disrespected in 2 seconds, that doesn't give me a lot of hope that things are going to improve, that my critical eye and kind of objective viewpoint that I try to make people seek is being appreciated, and that I almost felt like it was more important that I be wielded as a weapon for coercion more than a weapon for truth. And it's like, if I'm going to be a weapon, let's at least be one that is seeking truth. Not that I want to be a weapon, but if I'm going to be seen as a useful idiot, at least make me useful for something positive. But the fact that I was seen as a useful idiot basically, and my character attack was just like, listen, it was way too easy. It was way too easy. She jumped that cavern way too quickly. It was way too dismissive. And the way that we treat the least of those around us speaks volumes about the way that we treat those closest to us. So my critical eye, my spidey senses was like, not a good place to put your energy. not a good place. Accountability is very much a one lane, one direction moving highway here, and you just need to not care. And it's very freeing when you say I need to not care. It's very freeing to have the knowledge and the insight to look at something and go, okay, I need to stop caring now, because at this point it's going to cost me something. It's very presumptive, and so at that point I'm like, if we can make these kind of really bad judgment calls or really big, jumps in behavior and personality and the way that we speak to people, in that short amount of time, then this is not something that I'm okay with, not something I would put my stamp of approval on, not something that I would say is appropriate behavior for someone in that age group that has had all those life experiences and should have learned and shaped their resolve and their response systems better. So it's time for me to go. It's not beneficial. If I stay here, it's going to get much worse. And so I'm just withdrawing. And it is very much because of that behavior. It's not really because of Ryan. I'm going to continue to worry about Ryan because he has fame, and fame is bad. I mean, it's a positive, I guess, in many ways, but in many ways it's a negative. And I'm always going to worry about him and hope that he's keeping that critical eye upon himself, doing well, pushing himself to do more and more, and keeping himself honest. Because I am concerned in some aspects with some of the last few months' behaviors and statements he's made. But I will say that at least he will sit down and have a critical thought about himself and do a video about, I need to expect more. I need to push harder. I need to, set my expectations higher, but I also need to remember why I'm here. And I was really glad to see him do that today. And I thought, well, that's the high note I'm going to step out on. Because I think he's in a good headspace right now. And I think that whatever this experience, however it rung his bell, it was good for him. I said this is an awakening for him. Somebody said, well, it's a rude awakening. Yes, but it's an awakening nonetheless. And he is now aware of ways that he was being taken advantage of or potentially being abused that he didn't know about. And maybe the whole family had an awakening. Maybe they all understood how toxic some of their relationships and interpersonal contact has been. I hope they do, and I hope they reshape that and it becomes something healthy. And thing we can care from afar. And that's why I just, I sat here and many times I've had to tell many people absence is sometimes a better choice than disrespect. And Ned, I hope so. This was a big one. Like I went and left a huge comment on the video he just dropped a couple hours ago, and was like, dude, last week hurt me a lot. I'm out. Always going to wish the best for you, and wish these things would change to a more positive, and I'm glad I saw this, and this. But at the end of the day, I have to worry about me, and last week hurt me a lot. And I have to sit down and say, it's not a place I want to put my energy. And so, over the last week that I've been quiet, I've gotten messages of if I'm going to open my big fat mouth now, why I'm being so quiet. And I'm like, well, because I had to have like 40 x-rays today, and I've spent 5 hours in the doctor's office, and then I've had physical therapy evaluations and range of motion measurements, and I've been kind of busy. Never doubt if I had the wind and time to open my big fat mouth, I would. Without question. But I'm kind of busy these days. And my silence doesn't mean that I'm submissive. It means I'm kind of busy these days. But the bigger thing I question is, like, no one is focusing on lessons learned or self-evaluation skills or red flags. They're worried about if I'm going to come on and try to give them something they can tick back on. They're waiting for a fight. Just like Johnny Gobble's still trying to create a boxing match. What? What's the resolution there? He's an organ grinder's monkey. He figured out that to create this type of tension pays well, and now he's going to keep doing it. He trained himself. And so I was just like, this is not going to get any more positive. It seems that a lot of the trolls, the fan base, whoever's commenting, a lot of the engagement is negative. They're going to choose negativity. They're going to try to keep the drama going. And the more positive that I try to sway, yes, I find some gems like you all along the way, and I'm appreciative of all of you. I also find about 10 times the animosity. And I'm just like, no. I mean, if I'm going to choose to expend my energy, it's probably going to be over someone in my family that I physically touch and love every day, as opposed to a famous person that I don't have an interpersonal relationship with, you know? I would hope that everyone would expend their energy on their family before they would spend it on someone else. But you know, I'm learning that the younger generation, because of social media, does not understand relationships. I get it. But the fact that engagement is being drawn because of inappropriate behavior and tension and drama and hate, and it's not being shifted, I'm just like, I'm not a benefit here. And so I'm going to move on to something that I can be a benefit within. You know, because, you know, pissing into the wind just ain't my thing. I'm just here to say, you know, I've always been someone that's been like, if I can be of aid, I will be of aid. But if I'm not of aid, why am I taking up space? Move to where you can be of aid. So so this week, I was asked to take on an article due to some of the issues we're having locally with rogue dog populations, coyote populations, and the misrepresentation of both, and the miseducation of a lot of the people here. They don't understand domestic dogs and their biology, and coyotes and their biology, and actually how coyotes function, and how they kind of hold their territory and have a very good balance, as opposed to biological dogs that don't understand how to go out there into something else's territory and read the scent signs. I mean, a domestic dog can't live with anything else. They don't understand the biology, scent markings, and territory markings, when coyotes can live with basically everything but wolves. Coyotes and wolves won't tolerate each other, but coyotes will tolerate domestic dogs, foxes, bobcats. I mean, they'll tolerate a lot and live in peace with a lot. And so I've been kind of, when I've been seated at all of these doctor's appointments and awaiting all the x-ray reviews and stuff, I have just poured my heart into the research and to write this really educational article. And I've done a lot of phone interviews with some officials and some of the agencies that need to answer these questions and be quoted for the public. So I have just been really, really, you know, where I can be, you know, have a positive impact. That's where I'm going to put myself. Oh yeah, Fang, the AI, and a lot of people don't understand that, is that, you know, kind of what fuels the fire. They're going to also lay a gas feed underneath, and it's sad that people can't understand. Maybe we need to put a kink in the gas hose and walk away. So, but it's, you know, it's sad to see people like Johnny Gobble being patted on the back and embraced and almost invigorated, as if a boxing match between adult men is going to resolve any emotional issue. I mean, other than who goes home with a title belt, which is fake. You know, but it's just, it's, you know, the resounding change in the social climate from when I was a young woman to now is so amazingly different. And I said a quote, I said this in a comment, and someone was like, they couldn't understand all of the debased and devolved forms of thinking that existed today, when critical thinking was such a passion, you know, for basically since the dark ages. You know, all we wanted to do was climb out of our capacity as humans to create those voids. And now we find ourselves in the biggest void of all. And I did a comment and I said, gee, it's almost as if people have been given a drug that keeps them from understanding how to critically engage with others. And to be quite honest, that drug could be many things in this world. And I mean, you can basically put a blank there. And social media, inappropriate energy exchanges, unhealthy food, toxic workplaces. I mean, it could be you come up with a million different things to fill in that blank. Yeah, Anne Marie, it's a whole different world out there. And while I will choose to remain in places where I know I'm going to benefit and be of aid, there are times when I will choose absence over disrespect because I don't think that I'm going to benefit that population, and I don't think that that population is going to be receptive and not even use what I say, just even have a beneficial thought toward what I have to say. And for me to say that about a device that linked the world, that could have linked intelligence, and I'm sitting here saying that we can't share different thoughts and help people engage in healthy thought patterns and behavioral patterns, and understanding how their actions are created in here first, and understanding how to curtail this so that your actions are positive. It's just this could have been, it's truly magic. It could have been a magical thing for the world. We live with one-celled creatures that have done more to maintain this planet than we have, and that blows my mind every day. So, and it's just like, but I understand, I get it. Because it takes 5% of the population to sway behavior. Like I keep reminding y'all, it only takes a small portion, to create the shift in movement and the shift in momentum, and we just have to be aware of that. So that's why everybody's like, where have you been? Why have you been so quiet? Or will you please make a video? I don't understand this. And it's like, I enjoy the few of y'all that really like to engage with my thought process, but Lord, the hate that I've received. It's just like, it would take me 10 years to address all the toxicity that I've witnessed in the last week. And that would take way too much energy that's actually needed for positive things and things that are closer to me that are of more benefit, to be quite honest. And I'm not saying, that I think in some arrogant way. I'm thinking of me, which I hope that you all think of you. And so the healthiest thing I can do is role model appropriate behavior. And when I say that the negatives way outweigh the positives, I'm stepping away from it, and I'm choosing to not be part of this. It doesn't mean I want anyone to fail, or that I'm have some kind of unrequited issue with someone. It just means that I understand that my mode of thinking is not appreciated, and that at the end of the day, drama is respected more than someone who is consistent and someone who is trying to do a positive. So it's just not somewhere I need to be. And so when I start to see these red flags, I'm like, okay, well, is it worth my time? Is it worth the pains that it creates on my health, the drags that it creates on my health? And are these individuals someone that is going to have enough of an impact on my life that it is worthwhile for me to expend that energy? No. And if there's one thing I can say to Miss Patty, is to realize that as well, these people that are dragging you and showing you such hate, they have no effect on your life unless you allow it. Don't allow it. Absence is a much better choice than disrespect most of the time. Healthy decision-making skills are what create a healthy life. And for me, it's just like, this is not a healthy pasture. I'm standing in the middle of way too many cow pies. I'm going to move to the field with less cow pies because I don't want to step in crap. So, healthy debate is a foreign language now, sadly. Mind is a terrible thing to waste. I see so much waste these days. I see kids that think they need to do 5 hours of makeup to go spend 20 minutes with friends to discuss absolutely nothing and to have no life momentum whatsoever. And when you say what you want to be, they want to influence people, but they have no idea what influence is, because they don't even understand how they're being influenced, into being structure of nothing that accomplishes nothing, has no ambition, has no expectations, and no ambition. And it's just like, and here's one thing that I will say I picked up on, the play on words sometimes in the English language is a funny, funny thing, because aspirations are suddenly, we always tell kids, aspirations, you need to have your aspirations in life. You need to aspire to be certain things. You need to have these aspirations and hold to these aspirations and envision these, but in the medical term, aspirations are when things go the wrong way. And sometimes maybe our aspirations are not healthy for us. And sometimes maybe some of us need to choke a little bit to figure out that went the wrong way. So I'm trying to exit gracefully and be like, I'm on to greener pastures, and I'm going to do stuff where I can have more of a positive impact and not receive backlash. I don't like to sift through 50,000 notifications or YouTube Studio deleted messages to find the one gem. Like if I have to go through 23 to find one, is that where my time needs to be spent? No. So it's just like find positive places, people, and things. Be aware where you put your energy. So I'm having an energy shift. And I would hope that anyone of the age of myself or older would understand that it's a healthy decision, and be able to understand the thought patterns behind it, and, move forward. I'm always going to be a fan of the music and a fan of his talent and skill. I'm just not going to talk about it anymore because you just can't talk with certain groups of people. And I realize that this is a large fan base that is not always consistently educated. I know it sounds horrible to say that, but they're not always consistently educated, or they don't have a good condensed solid foundation of leaders amongst them to keep a certain momentum, to keep a certain movement, to keep a certain energy. And at this point in where I am with my health journey, I don't mind to be a leader, but I ain't gonna drag you. So I can't drag people, and so I'm gonna go to where my leadership is a little bit more appreciated. So I'm gonna be going back to more casual topics as I'm dealing with my health stuff. But when I see stories in the media and stuff that we need to talk about, we will. But my focus right now is heavily on my health, and especially since December when my heart got into the picture, my focus is on my health. And I understand and can more readily see the impact of the negative energy. I used to be able to absorb it and let it shift off really easily. And now I can't do that. I have to be super aware and understand how I'm impacted physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and make a decision. And my decision is that this is not where I need to be. This is not where I'm being respected. It's not where I'm being well received. And there are other people I could help more, and I'm going to move there. And, I hope that everyone has those deductive reasoning skills when they run into stuff like this. So, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I'm kind of on the sideline too. Thing, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to really watch where they place themselves, watch where they place themselves repeatedly, and watch what position they take in the hierarchy, and how they treat people. Um, and when you start to see repetitive issues, and you start to see repetitive responses, and you start to see a very regurgitated mindset, and you start to receive a lot of animosity, um, you just have to kind of go, okay, one of these things is not like the other. If it's me, I need to move on. And so that's just the decision I've had to make. But I will say, if you're having one of these issues in life, sometimes absence is the much better choice when compared to disrespect. I think I did fine. Yeah, I think I did. You know, no disrespect to Ryan and his talents. He will always be one of the most talented young men, you know, from Tennessee that I've ever spoken with. Um, but the entanglement to be a fan right now is too high a price emotionally, mentally, and physically for me. And the fact that I have to say that tells us where our world and society is. So, you know, it used to be you could just appreciate music and you didn't have to get into all the crap. You know, it's like I like all kinds of music and I like all kinds of music for all different reasons. And I was raised listening to Queen. I love Queen and I'm a huge Queen fan. And that gave me a well rounded look at diversity and people that live differently than myself. It allowed me to learn a lot of acceptance and love to people that are different than myself. Um, so it used to be that you learned a lot of things from people in these positions, you know. But it was when society couldn't clap back and leave 1 million comments. It's sad. It's sad what the ability to actually share our thoughts without sharing physical space has created in our communication journey as humans. It's sad. It's really sad. You know, because you used to go to concerts and there would be, you know, thousands of people at these concerts, but they would all coexist and be like, I'm chill today, I'm cool with you today because I spent a lot of money and a lot of time coming to see this band and we just didn't get that kind of engagement. You know, it was an experience to go see a band and physically be there and taking all the sights and sounds and smells and it's just not appreciated anymore. You know, now you can't go anywhere with more than 5 people without someone having a diversity issue. And it's just like, whoo, you know, we used to be able to congregate in thousands upon thousands and appreciate each other. And now more than 3, you know, are gathered. We have an issue and a potential lawsuit. It's just concerning, but, you know, the world, you know, changes, shifts, you know, energies, you know, it's just sadly where we've allowed humanity to go when we've not been looking. Because we've not been looking lately. But you always take that phone call. The quantum entanglement between people is real. Yeah. And it's sad to watch people self destruct. And I always try to say, you know, in 20 years, what will I wish I would have done here? You know, and I had to think about this one a lot. But I also have to be aware of what I'm able to change. And, you know, I'm just not willing to stand in a ring with an opponent that is endless. It's always going to be replaced by the next idiot, you know, that can regurgitate horrible talking points. And that it's just going to be a continuous line of constant tension and drama and me battling to try to improve it when it's just no. I can be more resourceful in some other area with another population that's more receptive, and so that's I'm going to choose to do. So, but I mean, I'll still be here talking about something. So, you know, as my health improves and I'm getting over the speed bump of this physical therapy and all the additional aggravation and pain it's caused me for the last month. And I'm trying to find a healthier balance. And as I get back to my healthier balance, then I'll be online more. But definitely since December and the heart issue, I've just got to put me first. And there's no other option. Garbage in, garbage out. That's great. Hi, Haley. Oh, Haley, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Bless your heart, honey. We just had a young man that was, I think, 19 or 20, I mean, outstanding young men in the community die in a vehicle accident, and it's kind of taken our community aback. Um, and it's just sometimes when you have to swallow things that we can't chew, and it hurts and it's painful, and we don't understand why we've had to go through this. And I lost 2 friends in high school, and I was like, why did I lose these 2 friends? Why did this have to occur? Why did this happen? And then I got 20, 25 years on down the line, and I'm like, I now see the change in their family that was a positive created from it. I now see shifts in the way people lived and changes they've made to be better people and to do better things. And I thought, okay, would this have occurred if these horribly impactful things had not happened? And it's amazing the ripple effect that things have. And the thing is when you chuck a gravel into the pond, you never know where it's going to land. But everything in that pond is going to feel that. So right now, y'all are feeling everything. Eventually, it will land, and you'll understand kind of why that puzzle piece had to be there. It took me about 25 years to make peace with losing one of my friends that I'd known since kindergarten, and I just didn't understand. And now, as I look at his family, and we're now 3 generations beyond, and I'm like, I get it now. I understand the shift that it created. I understand the point of interest it created, the way it changed what this family was struggling with. And I'm thankful now that the family is where they're at. Man, that was a heavy cost. But I've made more peace with it now. It's just terribly hard. There is no appropriate response to losing someone. It's just there's not an appropriate response. And people want to say, oh, there's grief patterns, and that. Well, yeah, there's certain stages you go through, but just ping pong back through those, until you make peace with it. So don't let anyone tell you how to make peace with it. Just feel it. So when we chuck that rock into the pond, everything in that pond feels it. Yeah, I was there for. Well, gosh, I lost my friend. It was a year ago last Christmas. And, I'm still processing that. I'm still like his brother wanted to know if I wanted to come over and pick up a few items. And I was like, right now, I don't think I can walk in the house. Even a year and, 2 months after his death, I still don't think I can walk into the house. Not without like a huge breakdown. I was like, do you want to have to tend to me for an hour and a half so I can pick up 3 items, or do you just want to drop them off to my house? And eventually, I'm going to have to face that. And it's just, it's like one step at a time, and that's not today's fight. It's coming up, but it's not today's fight. And yeah, I've been processing that one for a while. I don't think anything made sense for at least a good 4 or 5 months. So you have every bit of my prayers and energy. So I'm crying. I'm thinking about crying now. Just think about it. Losing people should be painful. If it's not painful, you're not loving people right. So the fact that you're in pain means that you're a good person. I know that it's so counterintuitive, but sometimes being human is purely measured by the amount of pain we're allowing ourselves to feel and processing through it, moving forward anyway. That's ultimately what being human is. Because at the end of the day, it's painful, but when you reflect back, without the pain, you don't have the love. Without understanding loss, you don't respect what you have. Them catch-22s, them yin and yangs, where They're heavy. So, but loss is a very personal journey. So don't let anyone tell you how to handle it. It's a very personal journey. If you're not making some kind of peace with it in about 6 months, then start talking to somebody about it. But be very gentle on yourself because loss is a very big thing. So everybody send Haley tons of love today and tonight. When you lay down and before you go to sleep, you send out your good energy. Send lots and lots to her. So I just wanted to pop on and just kind of blab for a minute, let you know if you can see a couple of my comments, let you know where I'm at mentally and why I'm making the decision. Oh, Haley, I hope it's just terribly suspicious it is. I hope that your family gets the questions answered they need to move forward and heal. Because until the questions are answered, that's going to be a really difficult one to kind of handle. It's terrible. If you need to email me, please email me. I normally check my email a couple times a day. So if you need to email me to vent, you email me. That's a heavy one to go through alone. But yeah, we've got a couple of families in our area that's terribly kind of lost in the shuffle right now because of this motor vehicle accident. It's really sad, to watch families grieve, and it's in a lot of ways. I'm glad I live in the rural area where families still grieve as families instead of individuals, because it's helpful when you have a whole family that's grieving together and they still care about each other. Um, but loss has, well, like many things in the last 100 years, loss has become something that we're completely foreign to. We're completely foreign to it. Yeah, grieving together is, it's the most healthy way to grieve, and our society wants to do everything alone now, and that's so unhealthy. So unhealthy. Honey, you're going to hold on, and if you need to yell at somebody, I will be here, and answers will come. Be patient. It I'm sure it will. They'll have to be careful, getting those answers, but be patient and just latch onto each other as tight as you can right now, and and try to suck the love out of everybody and everything around you as much as you can for the next year. Hey, Daniel. I'm perking up. I've had a very busy health week, so I'm perking up. We've had a big weather week, so I've had a big health week. But I think Haley's kind of giving us all a little bit of perspective for the moment. I think that's somewhere where we need to. Everybody's got something to chew on for a minute now to think about. Kind of puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Some of the things that grown people are on the internet fussing about, where people are handling some real stuff. BC. I told somebody today, I said, I'm half crippled, but if I was given the opportunity to gather the energy so I could kick everybody in the administration in the backside, I'd find the energy somehow. Because I certainly don't believe that we're living in a respectful time frame right now, especially in my nation. So I use humor a lot to get through issues. Oh, Daniel, you're a sweetie. You're a sweetie. Well, I think Haley's given us all a little bit of perspective. I think that's something we probably just need to mull over for a minute and realize that at any moment, and even in our small little family group, something is always going on that's more important, more shocking, more hard to deal with than what we're handling. And sometimes we just need to realize energy needs to be put in the best of the places possible. And this is a good reminder for that. Well, I'm glad you feel like you can say that here because you are with friends, and I want you to email me. That's difficult, and I'm still handling loss, so um, it may be a good thing, you know, to kind of latch on to others that are in different stages of handling loss, so that you kind of know kind of what's coming down the road. And but you can also say, okay, in maybe in a few months I'll be here. Maybe in a few months I'll be here, so that you do have, instead of being focused right now, you can still see down the road a little bit. Daniel, that's what they need to make a T-shirt with that. I think that is kind of the epitome of Creek Squad at the end of the day, and I'm hoping it goes back to there. Yep, everybody's being yeah. Thank everybody's being. It's just y'all are such a good group of people. This is why I'm, and even when I don't feel good, I come on, and I just felt like I needed to be on. I needed to be here. I guess we all needed to be here. Now we know why. We've got one of our own struggling. So I'm gonna go leave a community post. And if you have any insights on how to deal with grief or loss, I want you to respond to it. And if you're brave enough or you have an additional email account that you don't mind to put out there, if you are someone that's open to kind of saying, if you need me, email me here, then leave that there. But I'm going to go do a community post. And so I want everybody that can think of something helpful to put there, something insightful, or how you've handled something like this, just share. Because one of the most comforting things is understanding that other people have gone through similar environments and made it. And that's one of like the most powerful things when you're in pain, is to know that other people have been in that pain and made it out. And so let's leave little gumdrops to guide her way so she gets out of this. So I'm going to go do a community post. I want everybody to respond to it and leave a little nugget of wisdom. And if you have the ability to leave an email for a reach out. Oh, Rachel, honey, it's okay. You're here. That's all that matters. See, we've got a good family here. Thank you, BC. I appreciate you. Okay, I'm going to go do that community post. I'm going to put it up over the next few days. When you think about her, come back and drop just a little nugget or a little, I'm thinking about you, a little prayer. Let her know that she's surrounded with love and people that are thinking of her. And let's just make Haley a priority for the next few weeks, because she's going to need a lot of help. Well, thank you all for joining in. I think probably the reason I felt like I needed to be here was for Haley, because I thought this is really a non-issue. I don't know, why I keep feeling like I need to share this issue, but probably wasn't my issue I needed to share. I just needed to be here for Haley to pop on. Okay, well, we know that sometimes when we get those little inklings that tell us to do things, we need to listen to them, because someone's needing us. So investigation for today over with. Now I understand why I felt like this all day. Haley, honey, we love you. We're going to be thinking about you and praying for you. And if we can do anything, please let us know. And everybody go out and show some love and some discernment and decorum and kindness, and make the world a better place, because the suckage is pretty bad right now. So let's all show Haley some love, and make sure over the next few weeks you keep that thread that I'm fixing to create going, so that she can come back and read it when she's having some really low points. Because I know for the first 3 months I struggled a lot. So make sure that you keep this going and keep it up, and I will be checking it every day as well. And I'll be checking my email twice a day, every day. So make sure you reach out if you need me as well. So I love you all very, very much. Thank you for listening to me and spending time with me. And send out a lot of love tonight because that's what the world really needs, especially one of our own right now. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.